Paul C. Metzler and James C. Mulley Jr. in Penfield Town Court. My name is Christopher Childs. Yes, I've never committed a crime. This is the Freedom of Information Law. I'm demanding information from you and you will refuse to comply. This law is a joke to you two criminals. Freedom of Information Law, the name, charge, and sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court for John P. Metzler Jr., James C. Mulley Jr., and Paula Metzler. What's not to understand? The name, charge, and sentence. The reason why you're going to refuse to disclose it. This is what I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice as I continue to bombard you with this documentation. Is that everybody's guilty. A psychopath sits in a library and declares everyone guilty, and that's exactly what you are, Paul C. Metzler and James C. Mulley Jr. is a psychopath. Do you know the definition of a psychopath? It's a mentally unstable person, especially a person having an egocentric and antisocial personality marked by a lack of remorse for one's actions, an absence of empathy for others, and often criminal tendencies. That's exactly you. You meet the dictionary definition, Paul C. Metzler and James C. Mulley Jr., of a psychopath. A mentally unstable person. A mentally unstable person, one, sits in Penfield Town Court and declares everyone guilty, and two, has no interest in the facts and circumstances, and that's you both. James C. Mulley Jr., Jermaine L. Benman. Does that name sound familiar? His name alone removes you from Penfield Town Court. You were such a delusional 1984 with Paula C. Metzler, you don't know it. But I guarantee you, given what you have done, along with Jessica Wegg, does that name sound familiar, Jr.? Name, charge, and sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court. Where is it? Click reply and send it. You don't have to mail anything to me. Click reply and send it. Also, attached are YouTube's where I'm demanding the financial disclosure statement with District Attorney Sandra Dorley for calendar year 2019. You know what you're going to do, sweetheart? You know what you're going to do at the District Attorney's office? You know what your boss is going to do, Perry Douglas? Refuse. Financial disclosure statement for Sheriff Todd K. Bax for calendar year 2019. You know what your boss is going to do, $0 Michael Radler? Refuse. So, I'm going to be demanding again the name, charge, and sentence, and the financial disclosure statement. So, what is not to understand? Take your wig off, Paula Metzler. Look at your wig. Shine your bald head. Put your wig back on your head. Name, charge, and sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court before John P. Metzler, James C. Mulley Jr., and Paula Metzler. What's life going to be like for you when I contact the United States Department of Justice and I tell the employees at the United States Department of Justice that everybody's guilty in Penfield Town Court? It's an assembling line of guilt, and you two disgusting, repulsive, sick hacks have no interest whatsoever in the facts and circumstances. You work for Sandra Dorley and Todd Bax. There's no independence from you. You have no idea what's going on. And it's not the first time I'm demanding this from you, because bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler, and this is attached. I'm going to read the law to you again. February 8th. The name, charge, and sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court for John P. Metzler Jr., James C. Mulley, and Paula Metzler. February 10th. The name, charge, and sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court for John P. Metzler Jr., James C. Mulley Jr., and Paula Metzler. Where is it? February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day, and who the hell would want to be with you, the widow Metzler? The name, charge, and sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court for John P. Metzler Jr., James C. Mulley Jr., and Paula Metzler. So, 10th, the 8th, 10th, the 14th, the 18th, where is it? And 12 times since then, 16 times now. 16 times I've used a Freedom of Information Law document to demand a list of defendants in Penfield Town Court, and you refused every time. You were such a joke. Penfield Town Court's operations should be suspended, and you should sit there without defendants, and I'm demanding that Sandra Dorley and Todd Bax to redirect defendants away from you two criminals. And the reason why that they won't is it's an assembly line of guilt. The name, charge, and sentence of Penfield Town Court. I demanded this the first time on December 16th. 2 months ago. 2 months ago. And it was the same thing that I just read to you on February 18th. February 18th, name, charge, and sentence. Very defendant Penfield Town Court with John P. Metzler Jr., James C. Mulley Jr., and Paula Metzler. I'll repeat it to hammer it into the brains of corruption, and you're the brains of corruption. February 18th, February 14th, February 8th, February 10th. 4 times. 4 times since February 8th. And here it is again right here. You received it on December 16th, December 17th, December 18th, December 26th, December 27th, December 28th, December 29th, December 30th, January 3rd, January 4th, January 5th, January 6th, 12 times, 4 times, 16 times, 16 times. I demanded a list of defendants in Penfield Town Court, and 16 times you refused. You are corrupt to the core. Doesn't even matter to you the facts and circumstances of the defendant in Penfield Town Court. Paula C. Metzler, James C. Mulley Jr., are the cops corrupt in the United States of America? What's the answer to that question? If you were asked by an employee of the United States Department of Justice, are the cops corrupt? And your answer is no, because corruption inflames you, because you're corrupt. You cannot answer yes to the question of the cops corrupt because you're corrupt. You'll be confessing your miserable existence on planet Earth if you say and admit that the cops are corrupt. And the cops are corrupt, especially in Monroe County. The cops in the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. I'm always amused when these employees of the Sheriff's Office think that they're on a higher moral level or higher moral plane because they work for the Sheriff's Office, and all they are is miserable cops. Paula Metzler, again, this is not a search warrant. Lee LaRoque, pay attention. Lose 40 pounds. You type this document that says search warrant. That's not a search warrant. It has no identifying marker on it. And this is used to get into my residence. This is what I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice, you bald-headed, wig-wearing psychopath. She tore my residence apart because of you. What happened is that you got together with this Lee LaRoque. And who the hell is she? How'd you pick her out? How'd you pick out $91,000 Lee LaRoque? Did you, Lee LaRoque, go to Paula Metzler? Or did you, Paula Metzler, go to Lee LaRoque? You're going to have to answer these questions, and you refuse. I'll have 1,000 words just on how you two got together to concoct this. What are the facts and circumstances? Sandra Dorley, what are the facts and circumstances? Todd Baxter, what are the facts and circumstances of Lee LaRoque, $91,000 at the Sheriff's Office, getting together with Paula Metzler for an unconstitutional search warrant? King of New York, gay #1, Sandra Dorley. What do you think about Lee LaRoque being in my residence with an unconstitutional search warrant that Paula Metzler typed in Penfield Town Court? Deputy, King of New York, gay #1, Perry Douglas, $129,000 salary. What do you think about Paula C. Metzler typing a search warrant that says search warrant, that's not a search warrant, handing it to $91,000 Lee LaRoque and 40 pounds plus extra overweight, and this psychopath getting into my residence? What do you think about that? Deputy King of New York, gay #1, Sandra Dorley. You're going to refuse. I'm demanding a name, charge, a sentence of everyone in Penfield Town Court. It's going to be your confession. This, if you have to answer it, you refuse. You will have to answer this by the United States Department of Justice. And when the United States Department of Justice demands an answer, you have two things. Silence. It's going to be the Fifth Amendment for Paula Metzler and James C. Mulley Jr. Taking the Fifth Amendment. Or if you have to provide a list, guilty, 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 everybody's guilty. How's that explained? It can't be explained. Fanaticism, corruption, buffoonery cannot be explained. So, criminal, Paula C. Metzler. Criminal, James P. Mulley Jr. Comply with the law. The name, charge, and sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court for John P. Metzler Jr., James P. Mulley Jr., and Paula Metzler. My name is Christopher Chichester. I have never committed a crime.